Welcome to another episode of Sanford Says. My name is Lisa Holder, Communications Officer, and I am your host for Sanford Says. I have two special guests with us today. Tom Tomerlin is the Economic Development Director for the City of Sanford, and Pamela Lynch is the Economic Development Project Manager and CRA Executive Director. She is the Sanford Community Redevelopment Agency's Executive Director. Welcome to Sanford Says.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thank you for having us.
So it's wonderful that you're both here today, and we're starting a new kind of episode topic called The Buzz on Business. And these two folks are the source of information for business, all things business in the city of Sanford. And we're so glad that you're here, and we'd like to just touch base with you and find out kind of what's going on lately and the buzz, the high energy buzz on business in the city of Sanford. So Tom?
Thank you, Lisa. I love the name Buzz on Business because there is quite a bit of buzz right now. The city of Sanford is often referred to as the gateway to Central Florida, but I like to add a second line to that. It's also a gateway to opportunity. So, the business side of that is we're the gateway to Central Florida, but we're also the gateway to opportunity. And the city of Sanford has so much going on. The neat thing about the economy here, the local economy in Sanford, is that it has such a diversity of different businesses. And in a lot of ways, our little podcast here today is kind of season 1, episode 1. I love to think of it that way. And I love the idea of calling it a buzz on business. One of the things that, when you talk about Sanford, one of the first places you have to start talking about it is the downtown. We have a historic downtown. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're starting to do is just realize that instead of buying a lot of promotional items, one of the neat things about downtown is people just like to see an old layout of what the town used to look like. And that's something that we're giving out in economic development circles just to kind of reflect back on the past. And with respect to the downtown, I want to introduce Pamela Lynch. This is her first podcast, and she is the Executive Director for the Community Redevelopment Agency, which is downtown Sanford. Pamela.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Lisa. Yes, Sanford downtown, it is a buzz, big time. In fact, we have a new bike shop that recently opened, Bicicleta Bike Shop. It's for everyone, whether you are a very serious rider or just a casual rider. It is certainly not an intimidating place to go. It welcomes everyone of all different levels of riders, and we're very excited with them. They're very big on reaching out to the community with various endeavors, and we look forward to working with them and collaborating with them on different things. But back to what Tom said, Sanford does have a lot of character and charm, and the businesses that we tend to attract to our downtown are very unique businesses, which is why we have such a large draw of people who come from all over to come to the city of Sanford. We have very unique, eclectic, different places. So everyone from the millennials up to mature individuals really enjoy coming to the city of Sanford, whether it's to eat, shop, play, or even stay. We have a very large diverse area of businesses.
I think what Pamela hit on there is so key. It's the fact that if you go down to our downtown, what you see is that all the merchants are independent merchants. We don't have any big chains here located in downtown Sanford. And the special thing about that is people recognize that as something being authentic, right? It feels like small town America when you walk down First Street, and people sense that. They sense it in their gut. They sense it in their soul even. And I think that's the special thing, is that in a way, when you look at the kinds of merchants we have downtown, obviously food and beverage is very big, but we also have great little retail shops, and all of them independently owned. And I think that is a special attribute of Sanford. It's an attribute I think we probably don't highlight enough. We don't kind of toot our horn enough that in a lot of ways, if you're someone that's considering opening a business, and it's kind of a business to customer downtown, which is great, which is what a downtown really ought to be, is business to customer. You can get a start here in Sanford, and that kind of leads to something Pamela and I have been on the job for about 6 months now, And one of the things we really like about our historic downtown is that it can be a place for you to go out and start a business. In a lot of ways, that entire little business downtown is a incubator of sorts where you could basically start your own business. And we think that's terrific. Instead of having a bricks and mortar place that you label with a big sign out front that says incubator, why not just open it in downtown Sanford and give it a try? And we have a great customer base. It's one of the biggest tourist attractions for all of Seminole County. And I always like to think of downtown Sanford as really everybody in Seminole County is downtown.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you live in Lake Mary, Longwood, Altamont Springs. When you think of downtown and you're in Seminole County, yeah, I think you think of downtown Sanford and here on the historic waterfront.
I think you're right, Tom. I mean, I think that you raise an excellent point. The connectivity, the walkability, people definitely are drawn to the city of Sanford's downtown, and I couldn't agree more.
Yes, and I know that we had seen some data from a report, I believe it was from Orlando North, the tourism that they had provided us, that said that most people were frequenting downtown Sanford.
That's exactly right, and that was a thrilling piece of data to actually find, is that if you were to look at things that you would call attractors within Seminole County, so a couple of examples is obviously historic downtown Sanford, but there's also the Central Florida Zoo, a great partner to us, and also Uptown and Altamont. The place where most people from out of town, visitors, come to visit is actually downtown Sanford. So it does have a name for itself. We even found some additional data sources out there that if you look at where credit card purchases have happened in terms of tracing it back to a zip code, there's people as far away as Washington State that have visited here and spent some money in the downtown. So although if you go to some place, let's say in Washington State or Oregon, if you said Sanford, Florida, they might be confused about where that's at. However, there's still a lot of people within those Washington, Oregon towns that know, have been to Sanford, and so they have experienced it. And so that's actually why we've just come off something during the pandemic where we referred to, it as Sanfording. And Sanfording is just it's the art of going out and just spending quality time with friends and family on First Street.
Actually, I'm glad you said Sanfording, because speaking of Sanfording, we're looking at increased multimodal ways to get around Sanford and do just that, Sanfording. We've been approached by, we'll keep it general, some various different types of modes of transportation that people would like to bring forth to the city of Sanford. So we're talking with them and seeing if there might be a way we can bring increased transportation alternatives to the area.
Right, and currently there is quite a bit that we have here to begin with, right?
That's
and
correct.
You mentioned the new bike shop, Bicicleta. The reason that you're opening a bike shop, one of the main reasons too, is because Sanford has a incredible bike path now, which is the bike.
Lisa, that is
Riverwalk.
You cannot you cannot oversell the fact that what we're having here with Riverwalk Phase 3 opening, and that last segment that connects Seminole County to Volusia County to the north, and then all of Seminole County's trails, is really putting the city of Sanford and basically in the crosshairs of being a trail town, right? It's a bike town, it's a trail town. And we're excited about that because people want to be able to stay in that and basically have a bike holiday. They go out and they travel the trails. You could technically leave downtown Sanford on First Street, travel trails all the way to the coast with what Volusia County has done, our neighbor. So it's exciting prospect. We really look forward to working with our private sector partners, namely our bike shops, our local bike shops, to think about how we can expand that whole way of thinking of attracting that bicycling demographic, which is just a terrific demographic to have. But I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I mentioned the word demographic. And one thing that I can't highlight enough is that the city of Sanford is the youngest of all 7 cities within Seminole County. Median age, so half the people are less than this age, half the people are older than this age. That median age is 34 years old. Mm-hmm. That's actually less than any other city within Seminole County by a pretty big margin. And here's the neat thing about that. It's a young town, and the future of the workforce is the young population. Often terms the word millennials attached to folks that are kind of in that age range. And we're thrilled that Sanford has become a magnet to these very talented millennials because that's the future of the workforce. And what we have experienced is that companies, good quality companies, follow the labor. All right. And so if we have that labor stock because there's a good quality of life here, you could live in the historic district. You could take a golf cart or a bicycle and go downtown and visit your favorite brew pub, have a great meal afterwards, and then travel back to your home in the historic district with on your golf cart or bike.
I think
actually, though, you don't have to live in the historic district. We have lots of residential areas within a golf cart zone and equal distance from the surrounding area of what we categorize as the historic district, but there are several neighborhoods, including mine, because I've ridden my bike from, and we have a golf cart area, to downtown, all the way to the end of the to the end of the Riverwalk by the zoo and back, which is wonderful. You don't have to even get in your car, and you just hop on your bike as a resident, and you could enjoy the Riverwalk also.
Right, so but I think that the point that you're both making, which is an excellent point, is people tend to want to live near where they work, and we're finding a big upsurge in people moving to the city of Sanford as well as working in the city of Sanford.
And then also, that's a great point, Pamela. Also, which is interesting to me, Tom, is that we serve that millennial age range, or we're attracting those, but we also, like you had said earlier, we have all kinds of different demographics for people that come and visit our city. We have something for everyone. So that's really neat too about Sanford, because you can see a plethora of people's age groups kind of like mixing together. If you just take a look down First Street one day and see the many different types of demographics and diversity of Sanford also. And then I know that you're working on something about not just downtown Sanford we speak of today, but as an economic development director, we have several quadrants in the city that are also very important to the future of economic development. Mainly in the airport area. I mean, we can do 5 episodes on these different areas. But
well, no, it's great because this is season 1, episode 1, and what Lisa said. Lisa's got a little bit of economic developer in her, right? Because what she just said was, just kind of hitting on all the cylinders with this, and she's a very good bike rider too. I've seen her ride really fast on a bike.
I think it's awesome. You get a great bicycle. Let me tell you, it's not like work. It's just it's very stress relieving and it's enjoyable. So if you get the right bike.
So Lisa, I think Lisa must have the right bike.
I do.
She goes fast. But to your point, let's shift a little bit outside of downtown Sanford and talk about the other places within the city where there's economic hubs. All right. And I often refer to it as the 4 economic engines within the city of Sanford. And those 4 economic engines are, if you start at the west side of the city and head eastward, on the west side of the city right next to Interstate 4, you have really a retail powerhouse. And, of course, retail has taken a hit recently because of what I refer to as the A&P punch. And the A&P punch is Amazon is the A, and the P is the pandemic. And so bricks and mortar retail, where you go and you buy a blue dress, those establishments have been hurt. And once again, the Amazon and the pandemic punch that retail's taken. However, we have retail shifting into an experiential mode, and you can kind of see evidence of that if you look on Reinhardt Road and all the terrific casual restaurants that are available there for everybody to experience. So we have in excess of 5 million square feet of retail out by the interstate. Terrific. If you start to head a little bit further east, the first thing you'll hit is our West Side Industry and Commerce. This is probably a hidden area to most of our residents because St. John's Parkway is kind of the backbones to that. But if you look at the nature of the businesses that locate, let's say, right off of St. John's Parkway, what a terrific diversity, back again to a word that Lisa mentioned, and it just sums up our business community here. You can have something as complex as someone that assembles cable systems for defense projects, or you could have a simple training institute for cranes. So everything that, under the sun is located in that West Side Industry Commerce. Then we go back to our downtown. If we go a little further west, that's obviously an economic engine. We've talked quite a bit about that. But then the thing that I am really most excited about is our airport. our airport has room to grow, and it has room to grow in such a terrific way. There are so few airports with that kind of runway system and with that kind of vacant acreage that exists within the state of Florida. And we have a new president at the airport, a terrific guy. Perhaps he'll do a podcast in the future, named Tomerlin. It's a real pleasure working with Tom out at the airport, and I can tell you that all the stars are aligning such that that airport is going to get on the map even bigger than what it is right now with the footprint that we have, the terrific footprint that we have with Allegiant.
Yes.
And the 2 new Canadian airlines that have just signed on as well, Swoop
Yeah.
and Flair.
And there's Allegiant in there, and it flies to, several destinations along the East Coast. And there was data a couple of years ago, before the pandemic, 3 million passengers were going through that Orlando Sanford International Airport. We didn't mention the airport. For those of you who are listening and may not be in Sanford or in this region, it's the Orlando Sanford International Airport right here in the city.
That's right, and the airport code is SFB, so simple, fast, and better, right?
I like that.
But that is the airport code, and the airport is just such a pleasure to fly into because it doesn't have the traffic and the congestion that you see in something like MCO, our neighbor to the south. So it's a great airport to fly into, but I think probably the most exciting thing about the airport is to see how we can build more infrastructure to attract cargo traffic as well as manufacturing out at the airport. So everything is aligned out at the airport such that it could become Sanford's next major employment center. But this is going to take time, but all the ingredients are there. It has the land, it has the leadership, and it has the location. And it has that location with respect to even attracting labor to go work at that place. Because the 417 is just a stone's throw away.
Yeah, and that's a really good projection and good news to hear from the City of Sanford's Economic Development Director. And when you speak of the airport, we talked about earlier about transportation modes. We have Sunrail. We also have Amtrak, and I know that there's some development going out by the Sanford Sunrail station. Right, Tom?
That's right. Transportation is key, right? Because transportation moves goods and services and people, right? And so that's essentially, that's how the economy functions is the movement of goods, services, and people. And so having transportation is really the keystone to everything. And I'll tell you, Sanford's got, it's really a kind of the cloverleaf of a lot of different modes of transportation. We do have an availability, even at the airport, for a railroad spur, which is a very rare thing as well. Not only, in terms of rarities within the state of Florida, having rail access at an airport as well as available land at a Florida airport are just two great ingredients. But we do have a Sunrail system, which is all about moving people. And one of the things that Pamela oversees is the trolley system. I'll let her talk a little bit about that.
The Sanford Free Trolley. I think we've had an episode or two on that, but it is definitely it's like the cherry on top of the cake, I would say, the trolley, right, Pamela?
Everyone loves the trolley. They get excited when they see it, and they also notice when we have another mode of transportation in lieu of it. But the trolley system's been wonderful. It brings passengers from the Sunrail as well as around Sanford downtown, and also the Amtrak people who are dropped off several times over near the Sanford Information Center, and they can store their belongings for free and receive a key with a little wristlet on it, and they go and walk around Sanford and don't have to, lug around all their baggage. And they're so appreciative when they come in and they get that welcome, and we give them a visitor's map and let them know the areas, the history of the buildings then and now and those type of things. And they'll ask us where they can eat and, different things to do. And they just really, really are very appreciative of having that. And they love the trolley. They absolutely love the trolley.
And I think that's actually probably a good place to wrap up because, and what I mean wrap up is to talk a little bit about the Sanford Information Center. The Sanford Information Center, I don't want to steal Pamela's thunder. I'm going to let her talk about the vision for that in terms of incorporating having kind of a one-stop shop for our downtown.
That's exactly right, Tom. Thank you. It is a one-stop shop. We have the Sanford, the Chamber of Commerce there. The City of Sanford, CRA is represented there as myself. And we have the Seminole Arts Council, as well as Project Sanford is in there. And, of course, Main Street is there, too. And Main Street focus, of course, is the Sanford downtown, and they do an amazing job. So the combination of everybody in that building, we really can feed off each other, help people, collaborate when someone comes in, and provide them the help that they need, assistance that they need. And it's really been a great partner collaboration between all of us.
Yeah, it sounds like this public is working with the private sector, and it's working very well. Tom, right?
I think so, yeah. And that's the whole vision. And as a matter of fact, I think that's worth talking just a little bit about, Lisa, is that the neat thing that we find about Sanford, I told you that at the beginning of this podcast, that we talked a little bit about, it's the gateway to Central Florida. We've referred to Sanford like that since, I think really it's been referred to that for many, many years. I've seen it documented in a piece of economic development literature all the way back to the 1950s. So that idea of gateway to Central Florida has been around a long time. But gateway to opportunity. I like this expression. It's simple. And I think that is kind of the vision with the Sanford Information Center, is that we want to be able to open doors immediately in downtown Sanford for someone that actually does want to take that risk and open a shop or a restaurant or a brew pub that's going to service the population that we attract here. So that is, like I said, downtown Sanford serves as that incubator. It is kind of the, it's the thing that it's kind of the thing that holds the whole city together in terms of what do you identify as the heart and soul of your city, and it's downtown, and that's why the city is invested in the Sanford Information Center, is because it's a special place, and we need to give it special attention, and we need to provide it special resources. And that is exactly what's being done. Pamela's office is actually down there on 1st Street in the Sanford Information Center, whereas I'm housed at City Hall. But there at the Sanford Information Center, you can engage with Main Street. You can engage with the Sanford Chamber of Commerce, the Seminole Cultural Arts Council. You can engage with Project Sanford. So it is a one-stop shop, and we just look forward to trying to double down and make it very successful.
Yeah, and it sounds like to me it's a business resource for business to go in there. There's some ability to use some space in there for businesses. Is that correct? And also, I'd like to hear more real quickly about Project Sanford. Is that something you could wrap up in a minute? How about like a little teaser, and we could have another.
Sure. Well, Project Sanford is a group that, it used to be called the Historic Welcome Center, but basically they run our farmers market, and Alive After 5, and so they're just great partners to run events.
Okay, so that's great. I mean, we do.
And I do think that the Sanford Information Center, yes, it is a resource for businesses. It's also a resource for visitors and residents alike. Everyone likes to come in and we'll ask people where they're from. They could be from down the street. They could be from an hour away. They could be from Connecticut.
Yeah.
They could have come in on a train. So, and we see that throughout the day.
Right.
Every day.
You could take back a souvenir with you. Actually, there's the start of a city store. We have T-shirts there. Support local. City of Sanford T-shirts that are available for sale. And so it's located where? Where is this Sanford Information Center?
We're located at 230 East 1st Street, Sanford, Florida, 32771.
Right in the heart of downtown Sanford.
Right at the corner of 1st and Palmetto.
And so you can come in and say hi to Pamela Lynch. She'll be there. She'll see her smiley, happy face, and she'll be glad to help you in any way, in shape or form. Right, Pamela?
Absolutely.
Tom, any last words?
No last words. I just have to say that we're thrilled about having these quarterly podcasts, and we do look forward to Season 1, Episode 2.
We certainly do.
Yeah, and this is not like Real World we're talking about. But this is the first season, yes, for our economic development folks. We welcome you on the podcast. We've had several episodes recorded for Sanford Says, but we're going to focus on the buzz on business in Sanford. As you said, we are a city that is growing. There's so many opportunities, and you as an economic development director would love to share those opportunities with everybody.
I will end with just 5 words, Lisa.
Let's do it together.
Sanford
Sanford
is
on the move.
Thank you for listening. This is Lisa Holder, Communications Officer for the City of Sanford. You've been listening to Sanford Says. You could find this podcast wherever you subscribe to your favorite podcast and on the city website at sanfordfl.gov. Thank you for listening. This is Sanford Says.